Let's go over two scenarios in doubles and talk about what the right shot selection could be in each of those scenarios. The first one is you're back at the baseline about to hit the ball, and on the opposing team there's one player at the net and one player at the baseline. Most of the time you want to try to keep it away from this net player. So the ball comes to me, I'm back at the baseline, I have an opponent directly in front of me at the net. I want to try to hit a lot of cross-court shots that this net player can't get because the net person has the best opportunity to end the point. So if I can keep it to his partner at the baseline, there's a smaller probability of that player winning the point versus this net player. So I try to keep the ball away from him by hitting a nice cross-court shot in this situation most of the time, right? I don't want to hit at him unless I have a good reason to do so. If I make the mistake of hitting at the net player and it's not a good shot, he can easily end the point, especially if I have a partner who's also at the net. So let's say these cones is where my partner's standing, they're at the net, and I pop the ball up to that net player, he's gonna easily be able to end the point by aiming for those cones with a nice aggressive volley. Right, so it's my fault that our team lost the point because I set up this net player and my partner who's at the net just had no chance of getting that back if he has that nice high volley. So instead, I'm trying to play the ball early and keep it cross court. The more angle that I can get on my shot, the harder it's gonna be for him to intercept it. So if my shot is crossing the net around this area, it's gonna be easy for him to move and get the ball. But if I can hit a little bit wider, my ball crossing the net slightly to this side of the center, now it's a lot tougher for him to intercept as the net player. So that's focus number one, is try to keep the ball away from the net player if there's one net player and one baseline player. If I occasionally do decide to hit at that net player, I want to make sure that my partner is back at the baseline with me so that if it's not that great of a shot, we still have a chance to defend. And my goal when I'm hitting at him is trying to keep the ball pretty low. So I could hit with topspin, I can hit with slice, but I want the ball falling as it's crossing the net so that he has to play a low volley. That's option number one. Or I could hit to his side but try to hit over his head. So if I can keep the ball low, I might cause a mistake on the other side, or he might set me up for an easier shot. Or if I can hit over his head, that's another option. But out of the times that I have the ball, I want to hit at him probably a very low percentage of the time versus hitting cross court to the other baseline player. The next scenario is I'm at the net, my partner's back, and then my opponent has the same thing. So they have a net player and a baseline player. And when I get a volley, I want to be very picky about when I hit at the other net player. Too often I see these cooperative volleys going back and forth, but every time I give him a volley, that's a potential chance that he could win the point. So I want to make sure that if I go at him, I'm looking to really end the point with a nice strong volley. If I don't have that opportunity, let's say the ball's faster at me, it's lower, maybe it jams me, then I want to go back in the direction of the baseline player, either to a short target or to a deep target. So red cone or yellow cone, if I'm not sure what to do with the ball or if I'm rushed. So we put that hopper of balls as the other net player. So that could be my target if I have an aggressive volley. If I have a more defensive volley or neutral volley, watch where I go on my shots. So I either go short away from the other net player, or I can go deeper towards that yellow cone. But I'm hitting back to this player's side when I don't think I can end the point on that shot. Versus if he gives me a higher, slower ball, now I'm gonna go right at that hopper of balls at the opposing net player. Versus if I try to hit at the net player on a lower, faster shot, I run the risk of not hitting a good shot. Maybe I pop it up myself. I pop it up to that person over there and now they're slamming it at me. So we'll run through a few shots and I'll show you the decisions that I'm making on each shot. It was fast at me, so I just hit it back deep, straight ahead, back to where it came from. Same thing again there. That one I decided to loosen my grip and hit shorter, but still to the baseline player's side. Now I feel good, so I go at the net player. So keep these things in mind. Try to avoid the other net player when you're at the baseline. And if you're at the net yourself, avoid the other net player unless you think you can win the point.